Yeah, one of my favorite things to do is help my friends do their video work. So a lot of times I'm behind the scenes. So real quick, we're going to shoot Tiffany's Splice Magic 2 technique. And this is really cool. I got to do the photography for the book. Of course, you can get the books here on my website, Tiffany's website, everywhere great pattern books are sold, of course. And we're just excited. So this is fun. We're in Tiffany's studio, and she ran to go grab a quilt. She doesn't know I'm recording this, and this is be the official intro to Tiffany Hayes, Splice Magic 2.
Hi, I'm Tiffany Hayes of Needle in a Haystack, and I want to tell you about a new book I have that's called Splice Magic 2, and it uses a technique that I've designed that's called Splice Magic, and I want to show you how that works real quick. Basically, we're taking two squares and turning them into three half-square triangles. So I'm going to start with two 5-inch squares, and if they were print fabric, I would put them right sides together. I'm going to draw a diagonal on one of the squares from one corner to another, and then I will sew directly on that diagonal line. A lot of times we want to sew on either side, but for this process, we're going to sew right on the diagonal line. I'm also going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance along two sides of the squares, and that needs to intersect at a corner. So once I have that done, this is what my stitching looks like. A diagonal line on the squares and two 1/4 inch seam allowances. Now comes the magic. I want to trim these into triangles. So I am going to use a straight edge ruler, and I'm going to trim 1/4 inch to one side of the center diagonal line, and it needs to be on the same, the cutting I'm doing needs to be on the same side that has an intersection with my seams. So here we go. So we'd make our first cut, and that's our first large half-square triangle. With what's left, I'm going to rotate that, and I'm going to put one straight line from my ruler along the edge I just cut, and I want to move that over so that the edge of the ruler goes through the intersection of the seam allowances, or the seam stitching, and the corner of my pieces. When I do that stitch, I now have two half-square triangles that are small. So I have created one large half-square triangle and two small half-square triangles. When I start with 5-inch squares, I'm going to want to trim this half-square triangle to 4.5 inches and trim these two half-square triangles to 2.5 inches. That way, when they finish in our quilt, these will finish as 4-inch half-square triangles. These will finish as 2-inch half-square triangles, and 4s and 2s go together mathematically really well. In the book, there is a chart that shows how to cut starting with anywhere from 5-inch squares to 10-inch squares and what to trim them to so that the pieces go together. There are 10 quilts in my book, and they are all using the Splice Magic technique. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you look forward to using the book and this technique.